Welcome to the ARC-Core IMQE orientation video. Thank you for taking the time to review ARC-Core and for watching this introduction to our materials and curriculum. We are excited for the opportunity to be part of the IMQE process. In this video, you'll learn what ARC-Core is and how you can explore it using our IMQE submission website. We'll cover what a full year, a unit, and a lesson of ARC-Core looks like, what makes our kindergarten curriculum unique, and how the Independent Reading Level Assessment, or IRLA, supports student growth. At any time, you can skip to or rewatch the topics that interest you the most by using the chapter buttons at the bottom of the video. First, let's touch on a few principles you'll see reflected throughout the curriculum. ARC-Core is a comprehensive, standards-aligned curriculum built on the principles of inquiry through apprenticeship. In this learning model, the teacher acts as mentor and guide as he or she apprentices students into the expert moves made by readers, writers, and researchers. Every day, students are immersed in highly engaging science, social studies, or literary genre content. They experience high-quality, grade-level texts, related text-based writing tasks, and differentiated support in every lesson. Student choice and ownership is deeply embedded in ARC-Core, from self-selected research topics to students driving their own reading goals and growth. In these ways, ARC-Core goes beyond teaching reading to transform students into avid, lifelong readers. Let's look at a full year of ARC-Core for 5th grade. Every year of ARC-Core is divided up into 4 units that are aligned to a related set of reading and writing standards. In Literacy Lab, the first unit of ARC-Core, teachers establish their classroom community of readers and writers, as well as the routines and expectations for instruction that will remain consistent throughout the year. One of the first priorities for the school year is to determine students' initial reading levels using the Independent Reading Level Assessment, or IRLA. We'll look more at the IRLA and accompanying toolkits a little bit later. Units 2 through 4 focus on the reading and writing skills students need to be proficient authors. In Unit 2, students identify and analyze the characteristics of informational text. In this example, each student selects an ecosystem in which to become an expert, and the unit culminates in an informational piece about their research topic. Unit 3 shifts focus to a literary genre, like science fiction. Students read widely in the genre to examine the common literary elements and answer the question, what makes this story a sci-fi story? In this unit, students craft both a short literary analysis comparing 2 texts in the genre, as well as their own narrative science fiction story. Finally, Unit 4 builds on the research skills that students have been developing all year. In the Argument Lab, students analyze informational and persuasive texts for author's perspective and purpose, and rigorously debate social studies issues. These debates lead to a final project crafting their own formal persuasive piece. In the next part of this video, we'll explore an example ARC-Core unit, including the different materials you see here. Now that we've seen what a full year of ARC-Core looks like, let's look at some example units. For this orientation, we'll explore Grade 4 Animal Adaptations and Grade 1 Plants. You'll be able to take what you learn here and apply it to any 1st through 5th grade unit in ARC-Core. Each unit in ARC-Core comes with the materials your students will need to become reading and writing experts. The instructional framework is the teacher's guide to the unit, providing daily lessons, useful research to inform instruction, and additional supports for English language learners. Each student receives a researcher skills card and a collection of final project organizers to help them ask questions about their research topic, identify and use relevant sources, and organize their note-taking. Every student also receives skills cards aligned to the writing process, which are specific to the mode of writing for this unit. For grade-level instruction, an ARC Core class receives 30 copies of a high-quality, engaging, grade-level text, like the exemplar pack seen here. These exemplar packs are a curated collection of short texts aligned to the key science concepts embedded in the research questions. They are available for bugs, weather and climate, animal adaptations, and ecosystems. For the other units in grades 2 through 5, the core text is a trade book that ARC library designers have rigorously evaluated to support the instructional goals of the unit. In addition to these core texts, the teacher receives 5 anchor titles, each chosen to support whole group instruction. Finally, ARC Core classrooms receive 100 independent reading titles at a range of reading levels to support student research. In every unit of ARC Core, independent reading libraries form the backbone of instruction and knowledge building. American Reading Company works with over 250 publishers to find the most engaging traditional, contemporary, classical, and diverse texts. Every text provided in an ARC collection has been double-blind hand-leveled using the ERLA leveling system. Independent libraries provide all students with access to high-quality materials on a wide range of topics, regardless of reading level. As students read and research at their comprehension level, they are learning the domain-specific vocabulary that will help them access more complex texts in this subject. So you may see a student who is reading 1R books in the first week of animal adaptations, reading white or even black level books by the end of the unit. These text complexity and title selection spreads will give you more details about how ARC designs each library to fit specific themes, as well as the unique selection criteria for each anchor title. We've provided a series of tools for each unit to give you a big picture perspective before you dive into the instructional framework. These resources may vary slightly in different grades, but all will help you contextualize what students are learning over the course of the unit. In this 4th grade example, we've provided the unit pacing guide, the text complexity and selection spread, the research card and final project organizer, and the writing cards. All of which can also be found in your instructional framework. For all units in grades 2 through 5, we've also included either a selection from or the entire core text, as well as a text complexity analysis. Just a note, you may have received a physical copy of some of these core texts. We highly recommend reviewing these resources before you start reading the framework. Before we look at a day in ARC Core, I want to take a moment to highlight one big difference you'll see in our 1st grade units. We'll use plants as our example. As you can see from the module materials, rather than a core text and anchor titles, the teacher receives 30 above-level read-alouds for whole class instruction. You can see a sample of titles for each 1st grade unit. For more information on how read-alouds are chosen, you can click on Overview of Text Complexity and click through to the Read Aloud collection spread. Now that we've examined a full year and a unit of ARC Core, let's look at a day in the life of an ARC Core classroom. Every day, students apply grade-level thinking to grade-level and independent-level texts. Differentiation is built into ARC Core in the text students access as part of their independent work, never in the level of their critical thinking. This ensures students are working to grade level rigor 100% of the time, regardless of their reading level. First, the whole class reads, discusses, and writes to a grade level complex text. This component typically focuses on answering a research question or applying a focus standard. There's also time for students to make inferences and connections, analyze the author's choices, learn new vocabulary, and debate the author's purpose and skill. After reading, students write to text in a variety of formats, like note-taking on their final project organizer, completing a thinking map for the focus standard, crafting a rubric-aligned constructed response, and more. Teachers use their observation of student work during this lesson component to make instructional and conferencing decisions. The second half of class is devoted to independent work. In Reader's Workshop, students apply the focus standard while they read widely at their comprehension level. Students could be researching their topic, reading another novel in their genre study, or enjoying self-selected high-interest hook books. Meanwhile, the teacher uses this time to conference with students one-on-one or in small groups. He or she may be checking in with students about their proficiency with the focus standard, or using the IRLA toolkits to provide targeted instruction to grow student reading levels. We'll learn more about the IRLA and IRLA toolkits a little bit later. After Reader's Workshop, students apply the focus standard to their independent writing, frequently collaborating with peers and providing each other with feedback. Every day, these writing tasks are an opportunity to embed instruction in vocabulary, spelling, and grammar. ARC Core takes the research-based approach that teaching grammar, punctuation, and usage is best done in the context of students' own writing and publishing, not in isolated grammar lessons. ARC provides grade-level grammar and usage standards as a benchmark for student proficiency. Then, teachers use the grammatical errors in students' written work to determine which concepts are most important to teach and to which students. These lesson components are fairly consistent across all grades and units of ARC Core, with some developmentally appropriate exceptions. As we learned earlier, first grade units come with a read-aloud collection, not a core text. Instead, first grade classes engage in interactive read-aloud. The opportunity to experience above-level texts allows students to develop academic vocabulary through immersion and engage in conversation and meaningful application. During this time, teachers are still guiding students to apply the focus standard and analyze the text, just like the older grades. In our exploration of a full year, a unit, and a day of ARC Core, you might have noticed that something was missing: kindergarten. In the next part of the video, we'll look at a full year, a unit, and a lesson in ARC Core Kindergarten. Like the other grades, kindergarten starts with a literacy lab to build your reading and writing community and establish classroom routines. Classes receive 100 highly engaging read-alouds for whole group instruction, with a special emphasis on author and illustrator studies. Many of these texts will be great to use throughout the year. After Literacy Lab, the kindergarten units are zoology, ecology, and entomology. These units focus on building students' background knowledge and vocabulary about the world around them. The read-aloud collections in these units feature a combination of fiction and nonfiction titles related to the unit content, as well as big books, perfect for engaging students in shared reading. Let's look more closely at zoology, ecology, and entomology. As you can see from the Zoology Pacing Guide, these units balance science objectives, reading standards, and foundational skills. In zoology, students are identifying types of animals, comparing different text types, and learning initial consonant sounds and power words. In ecology, students explore the plants and animals that live in different ecosystems, while identifying main ideas and learning to retell texts. Students also continue to grow their bank of power words. Finally, in entomology, students learn the difference between types of bugs and think about how bugs are important to plants, animals, and people. They make claims and connections and compare and contrast texts. As they prepare for first grade, students continue to grow their power words and move on to decoding blends and digraphs. Kindergarten is the only year of ARC Core where foundational skills are taught whole group, because it's the only grade where we can reasonably expect students to be close to the same reading level. The sample literacy block for kindergarten shows us all the ways foundational skills are integrated into a daily lesson. In addition to some of the lesson components we've already seen, like interactive read aloud, reader's workshop, and writing, students also engage in morning meeting, phonological awareness, and phonics or word work. Reader's workshop is another opportunity to reinforce foundational language skills as the teacher models reading grade-level texts. In Science Lab, students experience key science concepts in the real world and through texts. Finally, music, drama, and read aloud are great opportunities to integrate literature, songs, and rhyme. Now that we've covered foundational skills in kindergarten, let's look at the other ways ARC Core addresses explicit, systematic instruction of foundational skills like phonics. The Independent Reading Leveling Assessment, or IRLA, is the heart of our instruction. ARC Core teachers often say that the IRLA takes the mystery out of teaching reading and turns anyone into a reading specialist. The IRLA has everything you need to know about our independent reading levels. Phonics, vocabulary, and literary analysis skills are intentionally sequenced to scaffold student growth from one level to the next. This foundational language skills scope and sequence will show you the specific phonics and foundational skills that are addressed in the IRLA developmental reading taxonomy. Like all our frameworks, the IRLA starts with the why and the research behind what we do, and then goes into the how. This How to Use the IRLA section takes you step by step over how to level a student and diagnose the skill or strategy they need to work on next. Each level in the IRLA contains an overview page, a running record of cold read texts, and any diagnostic tool you need to determine a student's strengths and goals. Once you've identified the student's next move, you can use the IRLA toolkits to teach them that skill. We have a toolkit for every IRLA level, yellow through purple, all of which can be used with students of any age. Let's see how a toolkit works. Each toolkit has an introduction explaining the theory of action and research behind this level. After that, the toolkit is divided into short, targeted lessons that are easily navigated using the table of contents. Each of these lessons aligns to a power goal from the IRLA. Many of these lessons are designed to be taught either one-on-one or in small groups. The toolkits make it easy for teachers to flexibly plan for differentiation in their classrooms. Now let's look at a lesson. We'll pretend that a teacher has used the IRLA to diagnose that a small group of students needs to learn to decode multisyllabic words, and affixes are giving them difficulty. Decoding multisyllabic words is a 2R skill. So looking at the 2R Toolkit table of contents, she can see that Lesson 7 The first lesson that reviews affixes will be a good place to start. Teachers can bring this toolkit handbook with them to the group because it is designed to sit propped up. Imagine students sitting around their teacher, looking at this list of words, while the teacher-facing side has that same list, along with what she'll be doing and saying during instruction. ARC takes the research-based approach that students retain phonics and foundational skills better when they practice with a text that matters to them. Each toolkit lesson balances learning a specific skill with application to an authentic text. In addition to guided practice, many lessons incorporate spelling practice, high engagement games or partner work, and the opportunity for extensions or homework. Of course, the true test is when students can then apply a new skill to their independent reading. ARC's independent leveled libraries match the levels in the IRLA, so students always have ample opportunity to practice their goals. Of course, we are growing lifelong readers, so we never want to limit our students' reading to just one level, and absolutely encourage students to bring in books from home or the library. There are several resources on the ARC Core IMQE submission website that can give you an even deeper look into the curriculum. For more information on what you've seen in this video, and to see the curriculum in action, please watch the featured ARC Core video. To see a day in the life of a kindergarten class, you can watch Kindergarten ARC Core. Final Project showcases one of our student authors reading Bloodsuckers, his informational book. Finally, you can see a full year of ARC Core materials in the 5th grade sample materials walkthrough video. At the bottom of the page, you can find more information about SchoolPace, our online performance management system, as well as our job-embedded professional development and leadership learning. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about ARC Core. We can't wait to partner with the teachers and students of Texas.